Good morning, where I am. Good afternoon, Sky. Just realized. Hi, everybody. Welcome back. My name is Abby Hagyard. I'm clicking on this thing so that I open up our chat conversation window. And here we are in a little corner of the world that is kind of like my sanctuary. I've got my mom outfit. I've got my Care Bears. I've got some tulips. I've got some shoes. Here it is, Shoes Day. And the reason I'm coming to you live virtually is because there's a lot of us and we're scattered all over the place. And much like my childhood growing up as a military kid, the far awayness is just really a detail. It's not a big detail, it's a detail. And the job that we always kind of just dug into, was how to navigate that, how to make far away, obscure over there, manageable. And over time, as I grew up, as I became a person, people used to ask me when I was when I was a little kid, what do you want to be when you grow up, dear? And I would say dollar, because I couldn't reach anything and I couldn't claim anything. It felt like I couldn't claim anything. It felt like I couldn't own anything. And I was aware of it. I was aware of it more and more anytime anybody asked me, what do I want to be when? Because nobody asked me who I was being now, how I was coping now, what I was doing now, what my simple win hacks were. And really, why were they? They were adults. They thought they knew what they were doing, and they're talking to a small person. I was looking up at them like a confused rabbit. And so no one ever addressed the idea that maybe from a very early age, we do think we know what we're doing. We've got a plan, we're going to execute it. It might be crazy relative to somebody else's idea, but nevertheless, it's a plan. And so in doing these videos, and by the way, this is episode 331, doing these videos twice a week, beginning way back when, my concept was, let's create a community. Let's create a conversation. I'll begin because I thought of it. And let's talk about all the things that make us go, all the things that make us, go back and look at the instructions. Or make us say, ta-da, perhaps I will tell the multitudes and they will all be grateful. How are we navigating? My ancestors were Vikings. We were good at a couple of things, two really. One was navigating, and the other was storytelling. And we didn't have a written language. We had runes, which was sort of, go left, smiley face. What we were saying to people in our stories is, this is how we did it. This is how we are doing it. This is where we plan on going. Would you like to come with? The boat is down at the dock. Would you like a window or an aisle seat? It's not a cruise. And in that story, in that narrative, in that decision to navigate fresh waters, we like many other civilizations were pioneers. Like many other cultures, we were looking at how to best get from here to the other side. That was the whole thing. Good morning, Freddie. And so the conversation in these videos that I'm having with you and talking with you when you comment, and I'm on a platform called Restream, and Restream is like a hub, and it allows me to broadcast on more than one platform. So you are probably watching me on YouTube or Facebook or LinkedIn. I can add more channels as I go along, and I'm probably going to be adding Twitch very soon. In fact, no, I'm sorry, I did add Twitch just a few weeks ago. And so this means that wherever you are looking at your video and you are connecting to me, the roundabout, the roundy round is how we are navigating those distances and getting together. And in the comments, now that I have more than just Facebook or more than just YouTube, it's really important to get to know who you are and where you are. So when you comment, and I welcome the comments, and you know what else is awesome? When you start commenting and talking to each other, that's amazing. What we have going on then is a conversation where we all connect somehow. You don't have to connect with my great friend Freddie Moore the same way I do, and Eddie Fleiss and Chris Wilkes and Sky Crawford. Well, you don't have to connect the same way I do. We are all connecting is the whole point, right? So the conversation today, most especially after this past weekend, and I will tell you about that in a minute, is why does no one play Thunderstruck on a tuba? And you know, when I posted it, it had to be, I don't know, 15 seconds later, and one of my TV people, not an actor, but the tech, one of my TV cronies, proved me wrong, found a video, put it on it. I thought, no, that's not the point. Show business people. You can't do anything with them. So the conversation is, how do we make this work? How do we make this work easily, well? And how do we make it work in a way that we can duplicate, that we can repeat, so that we don't have to go back to the beginning and figure out which end of the thing to hold again? How do we make this seamless, painless, and fun? That is the objective in teaching and learning pretty much everything we do. You know, is we learn by imitation. We learn by observing our parents or whomever is raising us. We learn by listening to the teacher. We learn by looking at the other students in the class. And if everybody else is talking, so are we, until some teacher says, that'll be enough of that. And then we all learn a new way of hanging out in class. Every single thing we do is a learning curve. And the thing is that we have the option to take that curve comfortably or on two wheels downhill in the driving rain. We get to choose our options and our methods and our models. And we forget that when we get caught up in frantic, when, you know, that primitive back of our brain is saying, run, 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 hide, 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 flee, flee, flee. It's a life or death. It's not a question of degree. It is now or never, do or die. And if we get into that mindset, if we get into pure panic, we never really get past that very basic, primitive, knee-jerk response stuff. And that, quite honestly, is painful a lot of the time, because there are easier ways to do things. We learn them. Why would we cast them aside? And of course, the answer is we cast them aside if we're overwhelmed. We've got stuff in our hands. We don't know what to do. We're exhausted. We're crying every time we turn around. We just go, I don't know, and drop everything. And then an hour later or a week later or 5 seconds later, we realize that one of those things we dropped was the key to the house, inside which there is a bathroom, and we need to use it. And now we have to go back and find, you know, so planning ahead a little, collaborating with really smart people a lot, and keeping one eye here, one eye on the path, and one eye over there. I know that's 3 eyes. and switching back and forth between, I'm here, I need to figure out this in order to get there. Do I have people who can help me? Can I avail myself of them? Are they willing? Are they good at what they do? Are they reliable? Why again do I want to do this? What does it do? What is it for? What does it change? Why do I care? What's in it for them? All of those questions are things that we automatically do when we're not stressed, exhausted, terrified, feeling lost and alone. All of that emotional stuff that keeps us hunkered down worked in primitive times, still works today, but not if we are in the process of growing and changing and looking for opportunities to live. And when I say a better life, I don't mean that kind of life. I mean, live with greater ease and comfort and joy. Live when we get to the end of the day and say, what a great day. Now I'm going to put my feet up. Even if I'm in a very small space and I don't have a lot of room, I can still put my feet up. I've earned it. So in terms of collaborating with great people, this weekend, yay, Greg, who has always and forever been a fan of You Can't Do It on Television and became my go-to on the ground at the event right-hand guy. We first collaborated when we did the first Ottawa Comic Con back in 2019, and he has come back he lives in Cincinnati, Ohio. And ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, humans of all shapes and sizes, you know how difficult it is to get from Cincinnati to Ottawa, Canada? I'll tell you, it's 3 airplanes. And then when you land after the third one, you have to rent a vehicle and drive the rest of the way. And he does that, bless his heart, because he was a fan, now he's a friend, and he thinks these events are amazing and he wants to be part of it. He's got a busy job. He's got a lot of stuff on his shoulders. And as he said to me on the weekend, 53 months still retirement. Not that I'm counting. And I said, good, I'm counting. It's 53, hurry up. We've got stuff. So anyway, in our conversation this weekend, one of the things he said to me was, we are giving people who already instinctively understand the value and the power of nostalgia and nostalgia entertainment and nostalgia touchstones and collectibles and experiences. We are giving them a portal. We are inviting them inside. Because, you know, I talk about the booths that I produce and host at these live events, and they're not like booths that people go to at these live events. If you've ever gone to one of these fan conventions, they invite celebrities and they give them a little booth, and their name is on the wall behind them, and they have a table, and they sign autographs. And some of them will do photo opportunities. And you register, you sign up, you pay thing, you stand in line, and then the celebrity takes a break from signing and comes over and takes pictures with you. I don't do that. No. First of all, ditch the table. Get that out of the way. Secondly, I'm going to need a bigger booth. Get a bigger booth. And then make it an interactive, did not see that coming, live, up close, personal, with 3 or 4 paparazzi that I bring to give people the actual experience of being on the inside with me at an event that everyone comes to experience unforgettable. When people walk by my booth and they see what's going on, they realize that people just like them are in the booth with me, having the time of their lives, wearing feather boas, laughing, kibitzing with the photographers, deciding what merch they want, asking me questions, but not how many times was so-and-so slimed. They were saying, oh my gosh, what are you going to do next year? One year, I took a collection of a small sampling. I had thousands of pictures. Took a small sampling of the pictures that my paparazzi had done. I put them together as a montage. And then I had that montage created as a puzzle. And then the puzzle came in a box, sort of like a lunchbox. Picture of the puzzle was on the cover. And it said whichever year it was. So when people came and said, oh my God, that's me. So they got a souvenir. They got a collectible representing me and You Can't Do It on Television, the Care Bears, and all the other stuff that I worked on over the years. And them, and a couple of random cosplayers walking by who came in and stuck their heads in. that's on the box. That's on the cover. That becomes the puzzle that they put together with their friends and family and then frame. Now, tell me where else that happens. Tell me what other celebrity booth does that. And the answer would be, why none? Oh, shoot, Sky, I did. Where were you? Good morning. And Freddie, you're right. We connect. It's the name of the Stacy song. Well, here's the thing. It may be the name of a Stacy song. What it originally is people going through life, staring at people, nodding at people as they come and go, looking into their eyes and realizing they found a friend. Seeing a dog, seeing a cat, seeing a bird, seeing a tree, seeing anything, looking at it, listening to music, hearing something that resonates, seeing, feeling something that resonates, and realizing we found a friend, a long lost friend. That moment of recognition is the essence of Unforgettables. I am part of this, always have been. Where have you been? What kept you? And once we make that connection, once we reconnect, it never goes away again, ever. All the people that I run into from time to time over the years, oh my gosh, how are you? I haven't seen you since high school in Germany. What were the odds that I would see you here at this corner doing that? And the answer is 100%. 100% that we were going to meet. How do I know? Because we met. So the subject today in all of this is how we accidentally make the easy things difficult, complicated, over fussy, when we don't have to. And why would we hang on to the overcomplicated when there are complicated things that we are going to have to put up with? If we can find a simple win, a simple fix, why wouldn't we take it? Why wouldn't we say, what was I thinking? And the answer was, you know what? I was looking at it and it was my first shot, or my second, or in my case, in the kitchen, my 437,000th. What was I thinking? I don't know. Does it taste good? Yes? All right, close your eyes. Does it look like the picture in the recipe book? No. Shut up, eat. So what I'm talking about today, because there is a lot of kvetching, there is a lot of anxiety, there are a lot of questions, a lot of people feeling confused and untethered right now, lots and lots of stuff going on. Okay, yes, there are. In the middle of a hurricane, there's lots of stuff going on. That, for instance, was my stove. Okay, if there's difficult stuff, we don't need to contribute to the difficult. We have the ability to contribute to the easy, to the hug, to the, oh, take a breath. That we can do when we can't do that or that, right? We have the capacity to find the easier path. Only, however, when we can clear the head, when we can take a breath, realize that we are not in imminent danger. We are not the ones who can fix that. This discussion argument is not ours to own. It's ours to be aware of, certainly, but it's not ours to own. Therefore, what can we do? Excuse me, I think I'm going to sneeze. I'm talking. Excuse me. Sneezing, by the way, is getting rid of something that is unproductive. It's a metaphor, right? So why would anybody play Thunderstruck on a tuba? Well, they could do it to see if they could. They could do it to see how much attention they would gather if they were in a marching band. They could do it as a lark, as a whim. You could get together with 17 people, all of whom own tubas, and none of whom have any friends in the apartment buildings where they live. And you could say, hey, let's all pretend that we're a band and do Thunderstruck. We could do that. Or we could pick an instrument that is more conducive to playing the song in the way that everybody loves to hear it, in the way that everybody wants to hear that opening amazing riff, in the way that everybody wants to be able to go, duh, duh. And why do we like that? Because we love the energy in it. We love the celebration. We love the stomping of the feet. We love the, yeah, hell yeah, spike the ball. Harder to achieve with a tuba, which is my point. Why would anybody do it that way when there are better, easier, more effective ways to do it? What's up with that? And if you say, you mean I don't have to play it on the tuba or the accordion or the zither or the pan flutes? There's a lot. Harp, for instance. Oboe. There's a lot of instruments we don't need to use to play Thunderstruck and have a good time. So in having that conversation, I want to explain to you a thing that I actually did in a stage show a few years ago, and it was the most wonderful prank that I used on the audience. So it was a one-woman show, and I had written it and I was staging it to let people know that I was still doing live work that I had created, because I had been doing live theater that I had written and produced for years before I got the nod to audition and get on You Get It on television. I had a career, but I certainly didn't have a career of the same reach. I wasn't on Broadway in the first place. It wasn't a musical that was going to be turned into a feature film. I just did theater. And when I was working on this show, what I was talking about was things that we make overcomplicated, things that we make difficult, things that just are unnecessarily in our way. And in fact, I've just remembered something that happened this morning that I want to add. So I did a lot of fringe theater. And if you've never experienced fringe theater, I think it began in Edinburgh, Scotland. Skye, you probably know. And the idea was it is done in a very simple series of settings, and people pay a very small amount of money to book one of these settings. And a festival lasts a couple of weeks. And it's an opportunity to showcase new material. People come and see what you're up to. It's a forgiving space. All the tickets are very inexpensive. It's kind of like going to a craft fair or a country fair at the end of a season. You know, there are rides and there's things to do, and then there's things to see that the farmers have created and they're working on, or the musicians or the artists or whatever. So this is pure theater, and everybody gets allotted a location that they're going to be at, and a computer generates the time slots that they get, because they're never the same, and allocates where you're going to be. And so I was talking about all the things that we do that get in our way. And the object of the exercise was to sneak up on people and give them an opportunity to see and just kind of accept without paying attention the things that were inconvenient and awkward. And my location, I'd done shows 3 years in a row, and my location had always luckily been this very attractive church basement. It sat 120 people, which was a really good size. And they would bring in the chairs and the bleacher seats and all that kind of stuff. And all that you had was, you had a black box, you had a curtain, and you had a very few minutes to set up and a very few minutes to tear down, because 20 minutes after your show, there's the next show. So within a church basement, one of the things that is a given, obviously, is that there are structural supports, because the basement is holding up the whole church. And so in this space, there were 3 or 4 of these columns. They were round, and they were very attractive because it was a very beautiful church. And so it wasn't just ugly and terrible, but you had to navigate, you had to figure out how to walk around and do the thing so that the audience wasn't trying to peer and see what was going on. And there was a pillar, a column, smack dab in the middle of the performance space. And there was nothing, there were two, one here and one there. And there was nothing I could do about it. It just was, right? So what I had to do was I had to plan how to navigate without constantly pointing to that pillar, without constantly making a big deal of it, because the pillar was not the reason people bought a ticket. They bought a ticket to see me. And that was what I had to keep my focus on. Why are they here? What is this for? Who does it serve? All those questions that I continuously ask. What is it for? What does it do? Who does it serve? Why do they care? What's in it for me? So are they coming for the column? No. Are they coming to watch me kvetch and complain about the column? No. All right, then. Let's figure out how to eliminate the column by just casually navigating it. So it's not a problem that they need to worry about. Except my entire show was about how we navigate things. So in this show, as I navigated, as I had planned the blocking where you go and when, every time I needed to get from this side to this side, I deliberately planned that I had to walk. I would walk in a straight line and come up, and the column was there, and I'd have to go, walk around it. Excuse me, pardon me. And then as the show progressed, of course, I'm getting a little more annoyed with it. And so are they, because if I'm annoyed, it's contagious, right? So I'm going, right. And then finally, and at the end of the show, I did this. I walked up, there it was, and I said, for God's sake. And I put my hands out and I moved it aside. And everyone in the audience, all 120 people went, oh. And I looked at them and I said, I don't know why I didn't do that sooner. And they all howled because, of course, that particular column was fake. I had worked in that space before. I was familiar with that column. And I had decided that for my next show, if I was lucky enough to get that space, I would add a column and no one would notice. So I went and I bought one of those. It's a cardboard forming tube in which you pour stuff, right? And I went and I ordered one exactly the right size. And then I went and I asked the church if I could go in and check, and did they know what color that was? And I got the same paint, and I painted my column the same as theirs. And it was close in size, not exact, but nobody's looking, right? There's 4 or 5 of them. This is another one. And maybe it's slightly smaller because it's here. Nobody cares. But I had navigated that entire hour-long show, putting up with this obstacle that was in my path, that was increasingly inconveniencing me. Because no matter what I did, it appeared to be an inescapable hurdle in my path. It was a constant that I could not live without. There it was. And I was doing my best. Or was I? Why did I block myself to walk directly back and forth? Couldn't I have created a zigzag pattern? Couldn't I have done a slalom? Well, of course I could. The point wasn't how could I avoid it? The point was letting people assume it was unavoidable. Let people come to the conclusion that this was something isn't she brave? My God, she's so resourceful. Also stupid, also stubborn, also some kind of a control issue that I had to come head to head, face to face with that column because I'm walking here. All right, but if you're walking here and there's a large puddle, you walk around the puddle, don't you? And nobody ever thinks of that. So when I say in all my conversations, I'm walking here, it doesn't mean I'm walking here and putting myself through hell. It means that I'm walking here because I have figured out the way to walk where that works for me, not that is a constant source of frustration. And when I did that, I don't know why I didn't think of that sooner, and everybody laughed. I then said, off script, you are now hereby sworn to secrecy. Do not give this away to the people standing outside. It's our little secret. We are together in this. Yes? Everybody went, yes. And they loved it. They loved it that I had revealed myself as the sneaky Viking that I am. They loved that I had presented myself as overwhelmed and challenged as they are in their lives. They got to see me walk in their shoes. And then they got to see firsthand the moment I did my pivotry flip, the moment I stopped saying it's not that bad, and I said, well, that's not good enough. They got to see it happen in real time. And I didn't have to say a thing because they got it. And when I did it and they loved it because they got it, and also because they realized that they had the same power I do. And they'd never used it. They'd never thought of saying, seriously, do I always have to do that? Or can I pull an Abby move? Can I pull a pivotry reset? Can I figure out a different navigational route? And the answer is absolutely. Difficult to do it by yourself? Yes, because you keep your eye here, here, and here. You need another eye. Well, I'm the other eye. You got two eyes, I'm your third eye. And if I'm way over here, I can also see possibilities that you can't because we're up close and personal. So I played this little word game with myself the other day, and I have 3 words, okay? And the 3 words basically sum up all of this. And I just think it's really cool if we think about these 3 words and think about how they make sense, and then write them down, maybe use the later folder, write them down and figure out, if you look at them as keywords, what do they represent in a strategy you're looking for, in a solution model you're looking for? Okay, so this could be a really, really tight, short solution model hook for you. Okay, so when we struggle, we are struggling because we are trying to keep something. We are trying to keep the engagement, keep with the flow, keep with the program, stay moving at the same pace with the same people, no matter how difficult it is for us. And I had a conversation about it this morning with one of my really, really lovely clients, delicious friend, who brought that up. I keep struggling with this. And I said, that's because you're human. Yes, but whatever thing. And I said, yes. And the blessing is that you can see it, because the struggle is harder when we can't see it. When we can see it, we can recognize it. We know what it is. We remove the uncertainty. We're not afraid of it. We're not confused by it. It happens to be an issue that we figure out how to navigate. If we just keep saying, it's not fair, you know what? You're right. It's not fair. It doesn't accomplish anything. The struggle remains. And the longer we wind ourselves up about it, the longer we say, yeah, the more emotional we are, the less capable we are of figuring out a plan B or C. If we struggle, it's because we're trying to keep something. And the fact that we're struggling is an indication that we're trying to keep it either the wrong way or for an unhelpful reason. If we find ourselves winding up frustrated because we keep hitting our head against it, what we need to activate is our pattern interrupt. And I'm going to talk about the pattern interrupt when I finish these 3 words, okay? Remember this, these 3 words, and then we're going to do pattern interrupt. So we struggle to keep. If it's a struggle, that means we're either keeping the wrong thing, keeping it the wrong way, or keeping it for the wrong reason. We can do something with the thing. We may not need to keep it. But the struggle is the red flag that there's some flaw in this process. Struggle to keep. Second word, strain. Strain is not the same as struggle. Strain is, right? Struggle is, strain is to maintain. Can you keep walking at the same pace? No. Eventually you get tired. Greg came for the weekend, found a great hotel near my apartment. Awesome. A couple of blocks away. And Ottawa right now is in the middle of something we call winterlude. And we have the longest skating rink in the world, the canal that runs, it's just 2 blocks from my window. And all winterlude, it's open for skating. And you see hundreds of thousands of people skating. It's so cool. And there's walking and running paths along either side. So if you don't have skates or you can't skate, you can still enjoy the experience. It's and all the way along, there's places to stop and sit. There's, you can get hot chocolate, you can get drinks and things to eat. It's magical. Greg had never seen it. So every morning he got up early and he went and experienced that. Anyway, on Sunday, we then went to a pedestrian mall, and there's a bunch of ice sculptures that are done specifically for Winterlude, celebrating winter and all its magic. And all these ice sculptures were there, and there were entertainers, indigenous entertainers, and different cultural entertainers. And there was, we have maple syrup and maple sugar. And so one of the things that is such a tradition is they pour hot maple syrup. They have it in a bucket, and they pour it into small clumps in fresh snow. And the fresh snow, of course, cools it and makes it into taffy. So they pour it onto sticks in the snow, and then you walk around eating this. And it's amazing. And so Greg had never experienced that. So here he was, we were talking strategy, but he was also soaking in the culture of Ottawa that is unique and distinctive. So in the process, walk up and down, back and forth, around and around. He said, "How you doing?" And I said, "I'm great. Don't really need to walk back up and down the pedestrian mall a 3rd time, though. We're good." And he said, "Yeah, because it's cold, and the slush underfoot, and kind of like to go someplace and get warm." So we did that. We went, eventually got the car, went someplace warm, and had a yummy supper and talked. So if I had decided I wanted to do the walk with him to see more stuff, I would have had to strain to maintain the pace. Or he would have had to reverse strain to slow down and walk at my gradually slower pace because I'm tired. It's not that I'm 106. It's that it's cold out there, and we got up and down and up and down and up and down. Enough. So not a struggle unless we strain too long. Then it's a struggle. So struggle to keep, strain to maintain. How do we reverse the strain to maintain? We reevaluate the what's it for, what does it do, who does it serve, why do they care, what's in it for us. We reevaluate the plan. We reset the benchmarks. I thought I could do this 10 times. I'm happier with 6. Then reset. And that way, the strain is minimized. And the third one, the third key word, so struggle, strain, shift. And shift is delete. You hit the delete key. You look at it, you have your moment, and you say, what was in this for me again? Tell me why I'm here. Why am I? And if it no longer serves, there's an interesting habit we get into, and that is that we keep doing a thing because we did a thing. We've always done it like this. Okay, do we have to do it like this continuously forever? Well, I mean, no, I guess not, but we've always done it like this. This is the legend. Okay, so we did it before the invention of the electric light bulb. We had candles and kerosene lamps. We have the light bulb. Can we not go click? I know, but the candles are so, yes, they are, but I have a cold and I'm tired and I just want the light on. Fine. Click, shift, delete the automatic knee jerk by learning a new habit. If you needed light before there was electricity, you knew what to do, and it was automatic. You went and got the candle, you rubbed 2 sticks together, you had the kindling, you knew what to do. It was your process. Electricity came along, and that process became click. Or we can learn a new habit to replace an old habit. We don't have to completely delete it. But if we shift our thinking and shift our priorities and say, in this moment, I do not need to walk from here to there because I am already this. I choose to ride, or I choose to go later, or I choose to send somebody on my behalf. I can shift and rethink, reset, apply my pivotary gifts to come back with a better way that serves me now, that serves me as I am, the way I feel with everything else that is around me. We all have this ability. Struggle to keep, strain to maintain, shift to delete. We can all do that if we're willing to let go. We can move the column that's in our life out of the way when we're ready, when we say enough is enough, when we are willing to say, that was great for a while, and now it's a new day. Pioneers came to our country from other countries. They stayed as long as they stayed, and eventually they said one day, okay, you know what? Check, please. Where's that boat? I'll take an aisle seat. Let's go. In jobs that are not helpful, not sensitive to, not mindful of the value in recognizing and thanking and supporting and encouraging employees. We expect you to do more. Are you going to pay me more? Why would we pay you more? All right. Is there another job? Yes. You don't quit this before you find that, but you say to yourself, okay, meanwhile, in your spare time, you start looking up ways to move the column and get it out of the way. Because nothing is written in stone, except Viking runes, of course. Nothing is written absolutely in stone if we are willing to adjust. If we are willing to say, this does not serve me, Today, this has not served me for a while. This actually never served me. I was doing somebody a favor, and then it became a habit that we both bought into. That we both bought into it doesn't mean that it's a forever. How we opt out of it becomes a conversation. And I was having this conversation with Greg, who said it has become a thing. There is a neighbor aging. The neighbor has relatives, but I'm the neighbor. And I said, yes, but you're here. You're here in Canada right now. And maybe they need to realize how often it is required of you that you travel, because he's very busy, he travels a lot. And maybe that family has to realize that you are not the go-to, you are the last resort. Because if there's a problem with the relative, you could be in Wyoming. And if they had become accustomed to you being the go-to, they would feel terrible that they weren't ready to step in because they had given that responsibility to you. So part of our job is to hear and see and think and feel the things we are automatically doing. Recognize them, not constantly, not every day. But if something is bothering you, if you don't like something, if it's annoying, then we have to figure out why it's annoying. We have to figure what it's triggering. There is somebody, so I'm in a building, I'm in an apartment building. There is somebody who visits, not all the time, not every weekend, but occasionally. And I think when they visit, they bring a small animal, a dog, the small vocal dog. And the small vocal dog is excitable. And so during the visit, the dog barks. And I know that it's a visit because there is not normally that noise. And it's not immediate, it's not beside me. It's probably upstairs. And I, for a long time was reluctant to say anything because it's not that bad. However, when I'm working from home and they're drilling to repair something and I can hear that and I can hear the dog, I'm thinking, all right, now we have to talk to somebody because this is getting ridiculous. And so, when I spoke to the manager, he said, why didn't you tell me sooner? I said, well, it wasn't that bad. And he said, well, that doesn't help, does it? Because I could have fixed that. Because they shouldn't think that that's okay. I pay my rent, they pay their rent. They don't get to, the freedom to swing their yappy dog does not extend to my ears. And so, I mean, once in a while, absolutely, the people, the Super Bowl was the weekend. So a couple of people in the hallway, one tapped on my door, one was in the lobby, said, we're going to have a party on Super Bowl Sunday. Thank you. Was it noisy? Yes. Did I know? Yes. What did I do? I just cranked up my music to the same volume. It was courtesy. They're allowed to have a party. We got to be in on this together. Was it a struggle? No. Was it a strain? No. Did we all shift a little? Yes. Why? Was it a compromise? No, it was a collaboration. We're all in this together. So if we periodically use our later folder as a reminder, as a does this bother me? And when we look back and we review, I'm saying at the end of the day or the end of the week, and you go back and you look at the stuff that was bothering you on Tuesday, and it no longer bothers you. In fact, it didn't even bother you by Tuesday evening because you worked it through. But periodically, we circled something that was a consistent nagging thing. And so there's something there. There's something that triggers that it's a consistent nagging thing. So we've got some time, make a cup of tea or something. And let's kind of see if we can trace it back to what the root cause is, what is really going on. Because it isn't a bunch of cars at a stop sign. That's the presenting problem, but it represents something in here. And when we can find it, then we can say, oh, that's why. And we deal with it. When we can see it and feel it, hear it, and taste it, and recognize it, we can say, oh, carry on. So the workaround that I said I was going to talk about after struggle, strain, and shift is this. And this is part of the coaching that I do with my clients, because my clients are, for the most part, wearing too many hats. And they've hit a wall of some kind, and they've said, I don't know what to do. And by hats, what I mean, we've taken on too many roles and responsibilities. So in the beginning, we were in a tribe. It was just us in this cave, in this tribe. We had issues, we dealt with them. We had one primary function and maybe a couple of other secondary functions. You know, I'm the leader, I'm the follower, I'm the nurturer, I'm the gatherer, I'm the sweeper of the cave, right? I'm the cuddler, whatever it is, whatever our role was, that was it. Okay, life got complicated. We left our cave and went to another cave. Now we are connected to two caves. The cave we're living in, with the other people in the cave, and the cave we're from. So now we have two roles that we're playing. Who we are in that cave and who we are remembered as being in this cave. Fast forward a while. You know how many tribes we belong to? The average is 10. 10? How could we be 10? Well, there's our family, right? And then there are our friends. And then there are our colleagues where we work. And then there are our neighbors. And then there are our clients, our buy-sell tribe. How many is that? And then there are the things we like to do. We like to play hockey. We like to go paragliding. We like to go ice fishing. We like to go shopping. We like to be on social media. Every one of those activities, hobbies, habits, we become part of, engaged with on a regular basis is a separate tribe. Do we own a car? That's a tribe. Do we have pets? That's a tribe. Do we like to travel? That's a tribe. The people we see at the airport, the people we meet at the resorts, the people we walk up and down on the cobbled streets of the cities, and the tours that we engage in. Each of those is a separate tribe, and we have a separate function in that tribe. We are recognized as Abby the in that tribe, and whatever comes after the word the in that tribe is not the same word in that tribe. And we are juggling all these tribes, our involvement, the things that people count on us for doing and bringing and being, nonstop, until something goes wrong with us, intrinsically with us, in our personal, private Abby tribe. And what goes wrong with us is huge to our way of thinking. We're in an accident and something is broken and needs to be repaired. And we now must rely on people we've never met before. And that's anxious making and exhausting. And this becomes the priority of priorities. And it overshadows and overtakes every responsibility we have taken on and said, I'm good. You can lean on me in each and every one of those tribes, and people do. So now, while we are dealing with this new experience in our personal life tribe, we are also aware that we are failing every other tribe that we taught to count on us. And my conversation this morning with my lovely friend, client, was in a vastly massive accident. Impossible miracle that she survived. Side effect? Pins holding certain things together in the body. Side effect? Having to regain all the things she had previously known how to do easily. Walk, talk, get the food onto the fork into her mouth. Had to retrain, relearn all of that. How long was that entire recovery and rebuild and regenerate and regrow process? How much of the trauma visited her every day? How painful was it? How determined did she have to be? How much was she able to contribute for long, long, long months to all the other tribes? How terrible did that make her feel? How much did that attach itself to disappointment and loss and the shame, blame, guilt thing? And how often, when in the normal course of events in every day, we get busy and we forget, harmlessly really, that we had said, don't worry, I'll pick that up for you on my way. And we didn't. Because busy, bad weather, worried about this, focused on that. Got home, phone rings, person we made the promise to says, I'll just come by and pick it up. And we say, oh my God, I forgot. And the person reasonably says, how could you? I thought you were my friend. And none of those statements, none of them is incorrect. I am your friend. You did ask. I did promise. What happened? Life. Unexpectedly, life. And when the friend says, how could you? I thought you were my friend. My client reacts as we all do, saying, I'm so sorry. But for her, it's an immediate trigger to all the I'm so sorries that she has stored away from all the times for all the months she was unable to show up and step up when she was in recovery. And so she isn't just sorry to that friend. She feels devastated because all of those other I'm sorries come back and it's an avalanche. So one of the things that I created for my clients, because this is not her, this is every one of us. It is and we forget that when we're in the middle of it. We think it's just us, that we are the worst creature on the planet. It is a universal need to interrupt that process, that spinning brain. Panic, 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 panic doesn't slow down by itself unless it's exhaustion that takes over. Panic, panic until we can't panic anymore and we fall down. But there is another way. There is another way to stop the panic, to stop the guilt, to stop the ego beating us up unnecessarily, pointlessly, to stop the subconscious brain from pushing the guilt. And that is something that is called a pattern interrupt. And a pattern interrupt, if you know that you're overwhelmed, you can get somebody to slap you across the face. That'll do it. You can get a rubber mallet and go bonk. That'll do it. But you know what? A little much. The easier, better thing to do is to come up with a pattern interrupt word. And what I say to my clients, and I learned this from a brilliant coach, teacher, mentor. Her name is Mandy Morris. Brilliant, beautiful woman. The pattern interrupt word should be silly and simple and lighthearted, so that what happens is it's a weird thing to hear, it's a weird thing to say, and it causes a blink. And then because the word is silly or ridiculous, we laugh. And when we laugh, positive endorphin, immediately healed, immediately reset into our natural, normal, I'm walking here. So one of my friends uses banana. Another one uses squish. My microphone keeps going on mute. Thank you very much. I'll check it out. Thank you. So apparently, I apologize if this is happening to you and you haven't said anything. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. What we're talking about here is the pattern interrupt word. So think of a word: cheese doodle, banana, pickle, squash. Whatever the word is, write it down and tell it to a friend. And when we are spinning out of control, all that your friend has to say is pickle. All that your friend has to say is squash. And our brain goes, blah, 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 what? And the what is the reset. The what is the pivot reshift. The what is allowing us to reset, rethink, recalibrate, and choose. So, Thunderstruck? I hope so, in a good way, because we are doing amazing things in spite of all of our flaws. We really are incredible. And every so often, we really need to have somebody say it to us. And as Mr. Bailey says, my microphone keeps muting. I'm going to have to take care of that, because the last thing I want is you saying, I can't hear what she's saying. And we don't want that. So thank you. And thank you all for doing what you do every time there's a video. Thank you for choosing us. Thank you for choosing to come, watch, comment, share, and plan to come again. It changes everything. These videos would not be the same without you. My husband used to do that with me when we were around my mom. He knows how to push my buttons. Our word was bluebird. Nikki, what a great word. Because, by the way, bluebird of happiness. I love it. We can all find a simple word. We can all tell it to people. Tell it to our kids. Tell it to our friends. Tell it to our special person. Tell it to our boss. If the boss is one of those people, tell the boss they need a special word that we can all understand. Because we're not perfect. Every part of life is a learning curve. Sometimes there are hairpin turns. Sometimes we need to accelerate into the curves. Sometimes we're on a learning curve and it's a relay race, and we got someone coming up and we have to take the baton from them. We have to get in sync with them. We're not always on our own. Everyone, every day, at some point, for the smallest minute, is thunderstruck. When we are, it takes all hands, all brain cells, all molecules on deck to handle that. In those moments, we have permission to put down the tuba. We have permission. And believe me, if anybody's had to listen to us playing the tuba, we have applause after we have put it down. So with that, I'm going to call it a day. It was a little longer today, but I think it was a really important one. And again, I apologize. First of all, thank you, Mr. Bailey. Thank you for the heads up. I apologize if I have been in and out. I will figure out what is wrong, I hope, and figure out how to fix it for you for Thursday. And I hope you'll return. So in the meantime, if you don't know the drill, I'm about to tell you. Be good to you. You deserve it. Hug your loved ones. They deserve it too. Thank you so much for watching. I'll catch you next time.